Our developing story. Financial markets react to news regarding a large-scale security lapse at Zoricom.
Data of over 1 million customers have been affected in what experts are calling a breach that could threaten the company's existence.
More bad news for Zoricom as evidence comes to light that the firm's board knew of the security breach and decided not to disclose.
Researchers conclude that the Zoricom heist was an elaborate attack that was based on ransomware technology.
Ransomware. You might have seen it in the news. Maybe one of your colleagues spoke about it. But what is it? How does it work? And how can it affect your business? The news footage we just saw is one potential outcome of such an attack. But in order to understand how we got here, we have to travel back in time and shed some light on the events that led up to this grim conclusion. The attackers are demanding $500 for every affected machine, and there are hundreds of them. If not, the decryption keys for the data will be destroyed. They decide to pay. The company didn't comply with the demands at first. Attempts at decrypting the data were made using third-party tools, but in this case, none of them worked. Unfortunately, now, there's very little that IT can do. The board have just learned of the security breach. Over 200 terabytes of data have been encrypted. Customer records, intellectual property, and financial data have all been hit. To increase the pressure to pay, the attackers have also targeted the backups. At this point, there are a few options. Maybe there's a tool available that can decrypt the data. Maybe just uninstalling the malware will do the trick. Or maybe they can crack the decryption key. This ransomware uses AES encryption that prevents recovery without a randomly generated 128-bit key. That means there are 3.4 times 10 to the power of 38 possible combinations. To put this into perspective, to crack such a key with today's technology would take more than 1 billion years. Now it's too late for any other course of action, where just a few hours earlier, effective prevention and detection techniques could have saved them.
Your documents, databases, and other important files have been encrypted with the strongest encryption and unique key. Do not try to get rid of the program yourself. Any action taken will result in the decryption key being destroyed. You will lose your files forever. The only way to keep your files is to follow the instructions.
This is how it starts, but this is not the beginning. Let's go back a bit further. The encoding of the files is the last act in this elaborate play. To get to this point, the cyber criminals use tactics similar to a targeted attack. Exploiting a vulnerability on the target system, the ransomware is installed with elevated privileges. The criminal software begins to look for valuable data to encrypt and for credentials on the initial point of entry. Credentials in hand, the attacker moves laterally to new hosts, network shares, and even backup servers, gathering more credentials, discovering more valuable data, and then encrypting the data on as many machines as possible. Had the company detected the movement, or even sandboxed the suspicious files, this outcome might have been avoided. As with most attacks, the target is the weakest link in security: people. Cybercriminals use social engineering and psychological techniques to fool unsuspecting victims into clicking on fake links, displaying malicious web advertisements, or in this case, opening bogus emails. Very similar to a phishing scam, it started with an email supposedly coming from a well-known industry conference. The victim clicked on the link to the fake registration website, and invisibly, in the background, the malware was installed. Ransomware attacks are quickly becoming a serious threat that businesses must consider. As with all cyber attacks, to protect yourself often requires simple common sense. Don't click on unsolicited links, block JavaScript in your browsers, and don't open attachments in suspicious emails. Sometimes, however, that's not enough. You need a connected defense in place that covers many different layers of attack.